I often talk about going to university, which I think is actually quite important. I mean, Winston Churchill said going to university was a really important thing. And way back in Greek times, they said it was the the roots were bitter, but the fruit was sweet of going to university. When I did my HND, I appeared in the Western Daily Press, having done a project with two other students for the Gloucester Constabulary, and we're also on local BBC radio. It was never mentioned by anybody. It was never talked about again, but I had a copy of the newspaper, and I kept a copy, and I was always quite proud of it. It was half a page in the newspaper, I'd say on local radio, which was quite impressive to me, but it was never talked about again. When I was in Hong Kong, I was teaching at a school, and I was in their weekly bulletin or their monthly bulletin, and I was quite proud of that. When I was in Thailand working as a university teacher, I did 2 hours on television, and it was never mentioned. No one really mentioned. One of my sister-in-law mentioned it. She said it was quite good. But a week later, I was actually sitting at home flicking through the channels, and they had about 4 or 5 education channels, and it was on. And I sat and watched it. I hadn't seen it before, and I was quite sort of happy to watch it, and I felt it was quite impressive. But again, it was never mentioned by students or staff or family ever again. And I always thought, well, in a way, how odd. What a strange thing to happen. But I have my bachelor's degree, I have my PGCE, and about 8 years of teaching. But I never made any money. In fact, that time I was teaching on telly in Thailand, I was paid £7, the equivalency of £7, about 300 baht, which was approximately £7. I had meetings beforehand, 4 hours each way on the bus to get there, about 2.5 to 3 hours actually doing what it was. At university, doing the thing that appeared in the newspaper. It took me lots and lots of my free time to get the thing as it should be. I did an awful lot of it myself. But again, it was never really mentioned by anybody, and I think, in a way, how odd. But that's just the way it's been. I'm now 57 years old.